drug-fueled rage at the Apollo. You're gonna think of me. Sounds pretty miserable, bro. Do the right thing. Punish this little bastard Hook and write me a fat check. By the way, here's a photo of me with my best friend Al Sharpton. It means absolutely nothing, by the way. Blushing face. But somebody tweeted, he tweeted, Hook is a piece of shit, and then somebody tweeted this. Some woman, I dated a 5'8" guy who taunt every jack. Oh wait, I dated a 5'8" guy who taunt every jacked. 6'3" bro, he met until.
It's Sunday, guys. You know what that means. It is time for your weekly dose of the Pro Wrestling Injection right here on the Pro Wrestling Injection YouTube and Twitch. Today is the All Out pre show, All Out show in general. I am your host, the Outlaw, Zach Droll, here, joined by the goon himself, Christian. We were out we were out Wednesday because I had work, so unfortunate, but I guess just to briefly talk about Wednesday, I think that probably was a ending to a show, probably one of the best ones we have seen in a long time.
Yeah, that was one of the best absolute closings to Dynamite. One of the best period that I've ever seen in wrestling. Um, it was excellent. The angle. I mean, earlier in the day, on Wednesday, they posted a video of Swerve, um, basically b- telling the story about how he lived in his old house, and how him and his family fell on hard times and had to end up getting the house foreclosed on, and it was his goal ever since he was a kid to buy that house back, and he did. And then fast forward to Wednesday, Hangman Page ends up no showing the contract signing they're supposed to do for this match, which actually made sense why they were doing a contract signing, how this played out. Um, but he ends up going to Swerve's house, uh, cutting a promo on Swerve while he's in the house, dousing it in gasoline,
Filming it
then
himself, by the
then
way, too.
yeah, and then lighting the match while he's sitting down having a drink, as Swerve's house is burning down behind him, and Swerve is in the ring flipping the fuck out. He's cursing at him, he's screaming. This was one of the best Dynamite endings and one of the best go home angles for a match I've ever seen. It was unbelievable. I've watched it back many times. It was a great visual, and it just takes this whole feud to another level. And this has brought it to one of the greatest stories and one of the greatest feuds that AEW
Oh,
has
yeah.
ever produced. Um,
It had the group chat saying we are so back.
um, but what's it called? Yeah, these two obviously after an angle like that, they are the main event of the show, which we knew. Even before All In, we were talking about, well, if Swerve or Brian, whoever walks out with that title, I think regardless, Hangman and Swerve is going to be that main event,
Oh, yeah.
for that show. So and that's exactly what it is. So very excited for that. I mean, it's come to the point where someone's got to die. Someone has to die in this cage, or something has to happen. Um, but we'll see. Um, but yeah, we got a great looking card, smaller one. But
First time
that was
Jericho has been on a pay per view.
no, that's not true.
Hmm?
He wasn't on All Out last year, I believe, and he did miss a pay per view when he got sick that one time. When he was in London and he got sick. Um, it's the first time in forever, but it he has missed pay per views in the past.
Huh.
But we have starting out at 6:30. We're having the 0 hour, and they put up the full match. There's gonna be 4 matches on the 0 hour. It starts at 6:30. We have just a couple matches for the crowd. There's nothing really here that's all too crazy. We have the Iron Savages versus the Acclaimed. That should be the Acclaimed because I mean Iron Savages ain't winning. You have a trios match between Sammy Guevara, Dustin Rhodes, and Hologram versus the Premier Athletes. That should be Sammy, Hologram, and Dustin. We
Yeah.
have the Dark Order versus the Bang Bang Gang, obviously. And we have a three-way trios match between Top Flight, Undisputed Kingdom, and Lee Moriarty, Shane Taylor, and the Beast Mortos. So
That
they're
should
probably
be either Top Flight or Undisputed
Undisputed
Kingdom.
King. I'll give it to the Undisputed Kingdom since they're uh, Roddy actually is doing something right now with Hook.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, that's the pre-show. Nothing really too crazy there. But that brings us to the main card. And first off, there will be a segment, which we don't get a lot of segments on these pay-per-views, but it is confirmed to be a segment on this show, and Mariah May will be having her championship celebration. I don't know what that means if Tony's coming back now, and we're gonna see like a new look Tony. But if they're gonna do a celebration like segment on a pay-per-view of Mariah May, something's obviously gonna be happening.
I
Uh,
I don't think so. I would like to believe that because I think because Tony Storm is doing the press junket for Grand
Grand
Slam
Slam.
in Australia, and she is still more or less in full timeless type character in a way.
Yeah, I don't
So
think she's gonna.
I don't think she's gonna coming back
No,
and
I
doing
don't think
being
she's
something
gonna
new.
change. No, no. What I'm saying, like something new, is like not change from the timeless because obviously this is a gimmick that works, making them
Yeah.
a lot of money. It's one of the best one of the best women's gimmicks I've seen. But no, I'm not saying she's gonna do an entirely different gimmick. I think she's. I mean, obviously she lost her title, so she has to come back in some sort of. She's got to regroup. She hasn't really ever been timeless for that long without the title. So she's gonna be somewhat different, and because now it's a timeless Tony Storm in chase mode. So it's gonna be a little different. It's not gonna be. I think because even when they were feuding, she had that black wig and she had like the powder all over it. I think she'll do something to the fact like she'll reference another movie or something like that. But like
Hmm.
she's still gonna be timeless, but it's gonna be a little different. Um, but uh, but yeah, that's gonna be going down. Um, there could be an announcement of the AEW rights negotiation deal, but I doubt
Uh
they're going to do that on the pay-per-view. He's going to be asked 1,000 questions about that at the scrum, but
yes,
I don't think it's going to. I do not think it's going to be announced at the pay-per-view. I think they're going to wait for the upfronts, which that's what
yeah,
businesses usually announce a lot
I
of stuff
think
like that.
we're not gonna we might hear stuff in passing on commentary, but I think even with
Tony hinted at it after the collision tapings last night.
yeah,
Uh,
that's what I was talking about. Yeah, you guys people posting about it, stuff like that.
Yeah, so that could I mean, that could happen. Not, I don't believe that'll happen on the show, but that he's gonna be answering a lot of questions about that. Um, but uh, but yeah. Anyway, I really think that'll happen on the press, on the like on the media upfronts, because I don't know, because there's another factor in all this. The fact that this hasn't been done now is because of the NBA rights negotiations happening at the same time with Warner Brothers Discovery and them losing the rights to the NBA.
Hmm.
So, and obviously that's a lot more important than AEW's rights right now, but they're always going to get an increase. But them losing the NBA actually helps AEW a lot because they're going to get a lot more money. Because I mean they don't have to pay the NBA
Yeah.
anymore. But anyway, something could happen in there. But getting into this card here, we have a lot of big time feud matches. We got a lot of great matches coming here. And this is going to be a great show with the talent and the matches they put on paper on this card. But first off, we'll talk about the grudge match, the Chicago street fight between Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. This has been broiling uh, since what, Double or Nothing, when Chris turned on Willow.
Hmm.
This is we've been waiting for them to go one on one. Willow, for the most part, has been getting the upper hand on Statlander for a while now. Um, so, and this is unsanctioned. This is not for Willow's CMLL women's title. And plus, with it being a street fight, I think it helps. But I am going to go with Chris Statlander here. I think she has been. I mean at Forbidden Door, that tag match, where it was Chris and Momo Kogo, and Tam Nakano and Willow. Willow came out on the better end of that. Willow came out on the better end of the match at Wembley. Um, but yeah, so I think Statlander needs not maybe not need, but Statlander, it would be wise to give her the victory here because you could prolong this because there's still legs to it, and Statlander hasn't got a meaningful win over Willow yet. Willow's even beaten her in the Owen in the Owen. Willow beat Statlander in the semifinals actually
Yeah.
of the Owen. So Statlander, in my opinion, has to go over here. She's lost way too much to Willow. And yeah.
Yeah, I think it's time for Statlander to get one over on Willow. I don't want to see, like, even though, like, yes, it's 50-50 booking more or less, but I want to.
Hey, boy, I mean, it hasn't been 50-50. I mean, there's
true,
I
yeah.
mean, she hasn't won. So
Mm.
even with help, so
But it's just like I would like to see Statlander finally get one over though. I think that's
yeah,
probably the
yeah.
best move.
I think yeah, and plus, which with it being a street fight, it protects Willow and losing cleanly.
Mhm.
Stokely can get involved. So very excited for that one. Next up, we have the AEW World Tag Team Championship match between the Young Bucks and the Blackpool Combat Club of Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli. This one was just made on Wednesday. They needed to get the Bucks on the show. So to me, this is just kind of an easy one. Young Bucks, they're not going to lose
Yeah.
to Claudio and Yuta here. They just needed somebody to wrestle. But it should be a very good match. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
But yeah, that should be the Young Bucks.
That's that's a unanimous. That's the Bucks right there.
Yep. Next up, we have the AEW Continental Championship 4-way between Kazuchika Okada, the Continental Champion,
Well, no,
Mark Briscoe.
If you go off by Okada's page, it's Okada versus 3 bitches.
Yes. So we have Okada, Kazuchika Okada versus Mark Briscoe versus Orange Cassidy versus Konosuke Takeshita. This should be a very, very fun match. Seeing Okada and Takeshita face down each other on Wednesday was fucking awesome, and I want a singles match between them. Now, that give those fucking guys 45 minutes and let them do it whatever they want to do, and you'll get one of the greatest matches that you'll ever see.
Just like imagine, like I would like to say Okada is in his prime now, but I'm talking like 2017 prime Okada versus like Takeshita now.
I think Okada's still in his physical prime. That guy he's still young. He's 36.
Really?
Yeah. So it's he's still got a lot longer to go. And these Japanese wrestlers, they last a while. But for me, I'm going with Okada to retain. I think Okada is not losing that title. He's going to walk into the Continental Classic when it starts as the champ. There's no reason to take it off him before that tournament. I could even see. I mean, the Continental Classic still like maybe I think 2-3 months away. Yeah. So he needs to walk into that tournament as the champion because depending on what the field is, which we don't know who is in it, what the field's going to look like this year, I still could see him walking through that tournament and winning the entire thing as well and keeping the belt. So Okada has to walk in with that title.
If I'm to make a bold prediction, I think like Okada wins, Okada pins Takeshita, and then that sets up for the finals, Okada versus Takeshita at say World's End. I guess that's when they might do the finals.
Yeah, that's what they did it last year. So
I think
either do it they could do it at World's End, which is probably what they're gonna do, or they could save it for Grand Slam. But no, Grand Slam. Well, Wrestle Dream wouldn't even start yet by Wrestle Dream. It's probably gonna. It usually started in November last year. Yeah, so
I believe so. But no, that's just like my thought because I think that like they're sitting on a hot feud here. Okada and Takeshita could easily like sell pay-per-view buys and sell a few tickets alone off that hype.
I don't know if I'd go as far as pinning Takeshita. But like if it was your idea and Takeshita went to that tournament and won the tournament, I'd be all
Mm.
for it. But
That's just what I'm thinking. It's
yeah,
it's a
but
possibility though.
I don't think they're gonna do that. So I mean, they haven't been scared to pin Mark Briscoe or Orange Cassidy in the past.
Mm.
So I think rather one of them should. But I mean, I personally I wouldn't, but I'd be fine with it if it ended up with him getting a major
I think that's where they're
run in that
going.
tournament. I mean, maybe it could because I see like I would love for Takeshi to win that, but you got to remember as well,
Mm.
um, going into that Continental Classic, there's still these guys have the Wrestle Dynasty show, happening, and New Japan is going to want Okada on that show in the Tokyo Dome. Um,
I mean,
so
fair.
so there's that to think about. Um, it's another company, yes, but I mean, they've been gracious for the last 3 years for Forbidden Door. It's AEW's turn. Um,
And
so
it's just like a
we'll see.
bold prediction. I think like it would be. I think, in my opinion, that's the writing on the wall and where it's going. Unless they want to venture, um, Jay White back into the singles picture and have him go after the Continental Classic.
Well, Jay White's gonna end up in that tournament. Uh,
Yeah,
I mean, he should be
just
ready to go.
regardless.
Yeah, he should be ready to go.
Even today, maybe we might see him today. It's a possibility.
Yeah, we could. But what's it called? Yeah. So it should be Okada here. Next up we have for the TBS title, Mercedes Moné versus Hikaru Shida.
Mercedes Monet.
This should be a very good match though. Mercedes absolutely going over here. She just needed somebody to face on this show because there wasn't going to be another women's title match because Mariah isn't having a match.
Unless they do
But
an
yeah, that
impromptu for Mariah.
I doubt it. I think they'll just do the segment.
All right, fair.
Because there's already 2 women's matches on the show.
And I know we briefly talked about this during All In season with, and I know it's stupid, but with Mercedes calling herself like Mercedes Two Belts or two belts Monet, that's like I see that as a tongue in
She has
cheek
not,
thing.
but I don't think she has been calling herself that.
She has. She
I
called
haven't
herself that
seen
on
that.
Wednesday.
Uh, yeah, but listen, we
But
gotta
listen,
stop this.
I'm
We gotta
allowed to
stop.
be.
No, we gotta stop this. This fucking Becky Lynch is not coming in. This is like,
Yeah,
come on now.
never say never on anything.
I understand that, especially over the past couple of years we've had, but I could safely say that I
Fucking
highly doubt.
hell froze over, and CM Punk went back to
Yeah, well, Becky Lynch is
WWE.
not CM Punk, and WWE is in a much different state, um, than it was back then.
I think there's always a small chance for Becky Lynch to make an appearance in AEW.
Yeah,
I will never say never on that.
yeah, I don't know about that. I think, I mean, if that happened, that would be insanity. But if you were gonna do that and you had her under contract, well, not, and you had her under contract, which number one, she was free from her WWE contract. Um, the moment she walked out of the door because it expired, they didn't release her or anything. So why wouldn't you do that at Wembley? That would be confusing.
I think
and they're not,
with
and if AEW had somebody like her coming in, they'd be doing the one of them special announcements. Or there's a big fucking signing happening on the show to get more ticket sales and pay-per-view buys. So them not doing that with her, a person of her stature.
I I think AEW is going to go back to its surprise the crowd method. Like we didn't hear about the big signings of Adam Cole or Brian
Yes, the
Danielson.
fuck we did.
They did not make an
Yes, we
announcement
did.
of, oh, hey, big signings are
CM
coming
Punk,
in.
listen, CM Punk stood in that damn ring 3 weeks prior to All Out, and he said, and the crowd was chanting yes, and he says, "You're gonna have to wait a couple weeks for that one." Adam Cole, you could just have to look who works there.
But I
Just
think with being tongue in cheek and without announcing it, saying it without saying it, it's better than nothing.
yeah, I highly doubt that. Highly doubt that. And plus,
I'm a wishful thinker.
And plus, even with Becky, even if they weren't gonna do it on a pay-per-view, they would build a show around that. They would build like a fucking big business or the not Grand Slam, the Last Dance or whatever the fuck they did for Punk. Uh,
For
they had
first dance, I don't know.
Yeah, your first dance. Yeah, that's the one they did for Punk. They had big business. Becky would warrant something like that. Especially that would be even bigger in today's WWE. So I and I just can't see that. I think that would be insanity.
I could understand that, but I'm always being wishful on certain things, and like I said, I became more wishful thinking after listening to a portion of her autobiography with like where she was, how she wrestled at Stardom for a bit.
yeah,
That's
but
just what it is.
a lot of people did that. Look what happened.
Yeah, they either went to WWE or they went to AEW.
Yeah, and I highly doubt Becky Lynch with her husband there, and she's got the entire keys to the kingdom over there. I wouldn't probably top three females there between her, Rhea, and Charlotte. So
I'm just never saying never on a possibility.
I
But
get it. No, I get it. I understand, but it's like I cannot see a vision for that right now without them doing something.
and I understand you and I hear you.
Mm. Uh, but but if they were to bring her in, um, they'd have to keep her the fuck out of the title picture for a little bit, which because Mariah just won the belt and Mercedes still needs that belt for a very long time. Um, so but no, I don't think that's gonna happen. But yeah, Mercedes, I have going over Sheeta here. I think she keeps it. Camille is banned from ringside from this
Yeah.
match, but I don't think that's gonna stop anybody. And to be honest, I could see there being a interference in this match beyond Camille, because there's been a couple of interesting reports and like tweets as of late that Mercedes has been getting really friendly with which they are signed, which a lot of people they're tier 0 but they're signed. Uh Robin and Charlotte Renegade, the twins, they usually do job matches or like not even jobs, sometimes they have real matches on Collision or
Well,
Rampage.
this past
Uh
Wednesday, Jamie Hayter had a match with Renegade,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So but like they tweet at each other. In the back they would say they'd be getting friendly, so maybe it's like a stable. And said, well, Camille's banned from ringside, but they never said these two. So I could see that was months ago where there was a report saying they were getting friendly. So I just kept it in the back of my mind. Nothing's happened, so I don't really think anything's gonna happen, but it's just something that could. Um, but anyway, after this, we have the grudge match between Daniel Garcia and MJF. This has been one of the hottest angles going into this one. One of the hottest storylines
I'm
coming into
surprised
to this
this
pay-per-view.
didn't have like a no holds barred gimmick going into it.
Well, I'm glad
I
it
get it
didn't.
for the for the main event.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do another one after these two guys are gonna. There might be
And even with the
nasty.
women's even
Yeah, you
with
can't.
Willow
Yeah,
and Chris.
yeah, you can't have three, and you can't have one in the main event where it's gonna be fucking attempted murder for 40 minutes. Um, but MJF and Daniel Garcia, they've been going at it since MJF put Daniel Garcia out, and Garcia he wants to get MJF back for what he did to him. This past Wednesday, MJF smashed a bottle over Garcia's head, bloodied him up, and says he's gonna break his neck and end his career. That's been the real thing here is the neck. The break your neck, I'm gonna break your neck. So I see this match ending. And MJF has been using the Brainbuster as his finish ever since he came back. So expect a lot of pile drivers in this match. A lot of um.
Your mic switched to your webcam, by the
Oh,
way.
oh,
And you're quiet.
better now.
Yep, there you go. Oh, now you're muted again.
Let me see.
Oh, there you go. I think.
Weird.
There you go.
But Garcia, he really needs he really wants his get back here. Uh but this one is actually one of the harder ones to call because MJF does not lose a lot, especially on pay-per-view. Uh, but I do have Daniel Garcia going over here.
I think something has to come into play for MJF to lose. I think it has to be like a pinfall and MJF's foot is under the rope or on the rope and the ref does not see it and that's how it ends.
Um,
I think one you still make MJF look as good as he always has with his feuds, but you have something for him to hold over his opponent.
maybe. I mean, I could see this going either way. To be honest,
Or like even
I mean, to be honest, this shouldn't even be a short-term thing. I think they should probably have another match. Um,
I think the blow off should be at the last Grand Slam in New York. You have two New York
maybe.
guys. One a lot closer than the other in sense of whose hometown it is.
Yeah, I really can't call this one. I'm going Garcia because I think it would make his story full circle here, and he can finally get back, and MJF could win down the line as well. It doesn't have to end, but I'm going with Garcia here.
I'm gonna go with MJF just to play like a little bit safe. But like I said, if Garcia is to win, it has to be Dusty. It can't be like a very strong, and it can't be a clean finish.
Yeah, no, MJF, yeah, absolutely not. It would absolutely not be clean at all.
Because even thinking if this goes like if the blow off is say at Grand Slam, have it be a submission match. Have MJF have to result back to the salt of the earth to win.
Yeah, maybe could happen.
Because you have what the Dragon Slayer submission, and then you have like the salt of the earth. You can do that.
Yeah, you could do that. But yeah, we'll see how this one goes. This one literally, this is actually too close to call for me. But anyway, after this we have the AEW International Championship match between Pac and Will Ospreay. This match should be a fucking barn burner. These are two guys with a lot of history. Two guys who are fucking unreal wrestlers, and I have a feeling that this is gonna be your work rate regular best match of the night. There's gonna be two types of best matches of the night, and this is gonna be your regular match category one. But this should be a fucking art of war.
Do we think Ricochet gets involved?
I think Ricochet gets involved after the fact. Because Pac is playing the heel for this match, but Ospreay is not losing this title just 2 weeks after he won it. So Ospreay, I have Ospreay going over. I think after the match it'll set up. I think maybe, I mean Ricochet is gonna go, but I think they're gonna set up Pac and Ricochet first before Ricochet gets to Ospreay because because Ricochet and Ospreay were robbed of that stare down by Pac a couple weeks ago. But yeah, because literally before Ricochet and Ospreay, the old Dragon Gate and all like before there was ever a Ricochet and Ospreay feud, it was Pac and Ricochet. So it was those two. So I hope they get to that one first before they get to Osprey and Ricochet, because that's a big match, and obviously there's a lot of history during that match. But
Yeah.
I have Osprey here to retain.
Yeah, that's an obvious one. I think
Um,
Osprey retains. Yeah.
but yeah, anyway, that brings us to our main event of the evening. Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland in a lights out
Did
steel
we?
cage
I
match.
think we missed a match
Oh,
before the main event.
excuse me. I'm looking at the wrong thing.
The title
Um,
match: Jack Perry
that's right.
versus Bryan Danielson.
Brian Danielson. We have the AEW World Title match. Jack, the scapegoat, Jack Perry versus Brian Danielson. I went in a circle and I went down by accident on the match sheet.
Jack always returning to the scene of the crime.
But that's right. Jack Perry, a year later, in the scene of the crime in Chicago, fighting for the world title against Brian Danielson.
Can you believe
I
that was
said,
2 years ago?
what?
The fucking like the brawl out was like 2 years ago.
That's right.
Fucking time
but,
flew.
Well, Jack wasn't involved in that one. But Jack, I explained this on the show 2 weeks ago. This is the biggest 2 week feud I've ever seen. This is not going past this. This is somebody to get to wrestle so Brian could beat and get Brian on the show. Brian just won the belt. He is not losing to Jack Perry, so I have Brian Danielson obviously going over here.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, because Brian is gonna have to start feuding with other people going into Wrestle Dream and Grand Slam. But yeah, this is probably the easiest match to call on the card, to be honest. But yeah, Jack is not winning. It's a 2 week feud just to get both guys on the show. So and obviously with the history with Jack in Chicago, and it makes sense because Jack did pin Brian Danielson at Double or Nothing in the Anarchy in the Arena match. So it makes sense that he would be getting this title opportunity. But no, Brian will be winning this match.
Oh yeah. I think that is. Oh, then yeah. Then now it's time for the real main event, the lights out steel cage match. Jesus
Between
Christ!
Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. That's why it's unsanctioned and lights out. That's why, because there was no contract signed. AEW cannot be responsible for what happens in this fucking cage. Obviously, we ran down what's been going on with these guys. I mean, home invasions, arson, attempted murder. A lot of shit has been going on between these two. These
Trauma
two men
on top of trauma.
hate it. They
On
hate
top
each
of
other.
trauma.
They hate. I hate would be putting it lightly when it comes to these two. It's a lot
Going
more
to
than
kill.
hate. Someone
It's-
might have to die in this cage tonight. Swerve Strickland, Prince Nana might pass him a Glock. In the cage. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a firearm used in this match. But
Hangman's
anyway,
gonna bring back the noose he used to wear for his New Japan.
well.
Actually,
you know, that would get-
yeah. Let's not bring out the news.
To be honest, I'd do it because it would be a great callback. But unfortunately, we live in a time where everybody's a fucking pussy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and to be honest, it's racist if you don't include him because why can't he do that gimmick? Why can't he be on the other end of it? But no.
Meanwhile, Hangman was hung in
That's
their
right. Hangman was hung.
their last match.
So yeah, it's like, God forbid, they're on the losing end of something, which they usually are. But anyway, but Hangman and Swerve, this isn't ending. This will never end. So we can't sit here and say, "Oh, this is gonna be." It's
essentially Joker and Batman. They're destined
this
to
is
do
never
this
gonna
forever.
end. I mean, you could come back to this feud like fucking once a year and get a crazy ass match out of it. But this is gonna be it for them for probably a little bit. At least until probably for about a year.
Yeah,
They're gonna keep coming back to it, but there's gonna be different layers to the story, in coming months. But it's like this is gonna be it for the time being. But these two, I'm not even gonna predict what the fuck these two have planned, or the ideas they have, or what's going to be going on inside this cage. I'm not even going to predict it. I'm not even going to try and guess what types of shit these guys are going to do to each other. My
Hell,
only guess is
we
that
can't even like predict what Moxley has planned. That's going to include people down the line too.
that's true. But for me here, I have Hangman Page going over and finally beating Swerve. Um, because the last time, I mean, there was Swerve beat him at last year's, I think it was Wrestle Dream. Yeah, Wrestle Dream, and then they wrestled in the three-way. Didn't happen. Swerve, I mean, they had a time limit draw.
And
Swerve has
even
never really neither man has really beat each other decisively, but in the death match, obviously Swerve beat him. But neither man has really like beat each other decisively. And I don't think that's gonna happen tonight, but I do think Hangman finally gets the upper hand tonight.
another fun fact. This is Hangman's first main event, quote main event, since Double or Nothing, where he faced CM Punk. So,
I mean, this is the best Hangman's ever been,
oh
so he absolutely deserves it. So
yeah, I agree. I think Hangman gets his win here, and this puts their feud on hold for a short bit up until another pay-per-view, say like several months down the line.
yeah, but yeah, we can't even sit here and I don't. The shit they're gonna do in this match is gonna be fucking horrific and crazy.
Yeah,
And I'm
if we
very
well,
excited.
I think the first ever lights out match for a pay-per-view, people said it was the most like gruesome lights out match they saw, and that was the one with Mox and Omega. I think this one is going to be talked about for all the right reasons and for all the wrong reasons, and I'm looking forward to it. I fucking
Yeah, this
love.
shit-
I love this shit, and yeah. All right, so I think I'm gonna go with I said Hangman as well. Yeah, I think that will really do it for us right here. We'll do the wrestler of the week on at the end of the show. So for those who were able to purchase the 1 hour teas for Hangman, good on you. I got mine. So were you able to snag yours?
To be honest, I have too many wrestling shirts, and I wasn't that big of a fan of it. I already have two Hangman shirts, so I didn't pick that one up.
All right,
I
fair
opted
enough.
out this time.
I saw it. I was like, I have to get this because it looks really cool, at least in my opinion. All right, guys.
No, it does. It is a good looking shirt.
People are wanting the like a reprint of it, but in like the tan and pink style that Hangman rocks sometimes.
Like
And
that Western.
I'm down for it as well. But all right, guys, we will see you on the post show. So stick on for that. Yeah, Mike's not going to be there. We won't see Mike for a bit. So yeah. All right, guys, we will see you then. Peace.